Hiep Hòa, Vietnam, November 1963. This is Ground Zero. The Battle of Hiep Hòa was one of the earliest major victories for the communist insurgency during the Vietnam War and was fought on the night of the 22nd to the 23rd of November 1963, about 31 miles, approximately 50 kilometers, northeast of Saigon. The battle demonstrated the growing strength, organization and confidence of the Viet Cong following the overthrow of the South Vietnamese president just weeks earlier. At the time, the Republic of Vietnam was undergoing political uncertainty after the military coup of the 1st of November 1963. The instability affected military command and control across the country, creating opportunities for the Viet Cong to launch increasingly ambitious attacks against isolated government positions. Hiep Hòa became one of their first major targets. The district headquarters of Hiep Hòa served as both an administrative centre and military outpost. Defending it were approximately 200 to 250 personnel. The garrison consisted primarily of soldiers from the Army of the Republic of Vietnam, commonly known as the ARVN, including elements of the regional and local security forces. Supporting them were members of the Civil Guard, the Self-Defense Corps, local police, and several American military advisors from the Military Assistance Advisory Group, or MAAG. Among the American advisors was Major James R. Hewitt, who served as the senior U.S. advisor at the district headquarters. The American advisory team was responsible for assisting the South Vietnamese forces with planning, communications and training, but they were not intended to lead combat operations directly. Opposing the defenders was a carefully organized Viet Cong force estimated at around 400 to 500 fighters. The assault was carried out by units of the Viet Cong's main force battalions, supported by local guerrillas who possessed detailed knowledge of the terrain and defensive layout. The attacking force had spent weeks gathering intelligence, observing guard routines, identifying weak points at the perimeter, and preparing the operation. The Viet Cong's plan relied on surprise, infiltration, and overwhelming firepower concentrated against a single objective. Rather than conducting a prolonged siege, they intended to destroy the headquarters quickly before reinforcements could arrive. The attack began shortly before midnight. Under the cover of darkness, Viet Cong assault teams silently moved towards the perimeter. Local guerrillas guided the attackers through fields and vegetation surrounding the compound. Some teams cut communications while others approached defensive wire obstacles using Bangalore torpedoes and explosive charges to breach the perimeter. Once the assault began, the Viet Cong unleashed intense mortar and recoilless rifle fire against key defensive positions. Heavy machine guns and small arms suppressed the defenders, while specialized assault teams entered through multiple breaches. The defenders were caught by surprise. Although they returned fire and attempted to organize a defense, the speed and coordination of the attack made effective resistance difficult. Communications quickly broke down as telephone lines were severed and command posts came under fire. The American advisors joined the fighting alongside the South Vietnamese defenders. Major Hewitt directed defensive efforts until he was killed during the battle. Other advisors continued resisting from fortified positions while attempting to coordinate radio communications with higher headquarters. Inside the compound, fighting became increasingly close and chaotic. Buildings changed hands as Viet Cong assault teams cleared bunkers and defensive positions one by one. Grenades, automatic weapons, and demolition charges were used extensively. One of the most effective aspects of the Viet Cong attack was their use of decentralized assault groups. Rather than advancing in a single formation, small teams attacked separate objectives simultaneously. This forced the defenders to fight on multiple fronts and prevented them from concentrating their limited manpower. Another key factor was the careful integration of local guerrillas with regular main force units. The guerrillas provided intelligence, reconnaissance, guides, and security, while the better trained main force battalions carried out the primary assault. This combination became a hallmark of later Viet Cong operations throughout the war. Attempts by nearby South Vietnamese units to reinforce Hiep Hòa were delayed by confusion, poor communication, and fears of ambush along the roads. By the time relief forces approached, the battle had largely been decided. After several hours of fighting, the Viet Cong captured the district headquarters. Survivors who could escape withdrew from the position while others were captured. The attackers removed weapons, ammunition, radios, medical supplies, and documents before withdrawing from the area ahead of a larger government forces. The victory carried considerable propaganda value for the Viet Cong. Capturing an entire district headquarters demonstrated that government forces could be defeated even in fortified positions. The operation also highlighted the weakness in South Vietnamese local security, intelligence, communications, and rapid reaction capabilities. Casualty figures vary somewhat among historical sources, but most agree that approximately 40 to 50 South Vietnamese defenders were killed, with many others wounded or captured. The United States suffered 5 military advisors killed, including Major James R. Hewitt, making it one of the deadliest single engagements for American advisors up to that point in the conflict. Viet Cong casualties are less certain. Estimates claim to be roughly 20 to 30 Viet Cong killed, although later historians note that these figures are difficult to verify because the attacking force withdrew with many of its dead and wounded. As with many battles during the Vietnam War, estimates of enemy casualties should therefore be treated cautiously. Militarily, the Battle of Hiep Hòa demonstrated several tactical lessons that would reoccur throughout the conflict. First, the Viet Cong showed that carefully planned nighttime attacks could neutralize technologically superior defenders through surprise and coordination. Second, they demonstrated the effectiveness of combining intelligence gathered by local guerrillas with disciplined main force assault units. Third, the battle exposed vulnerabilities in isolated district headquarters that lacked sufficient artillery support, armoured reinforcements, and rapid reaction forces. For the South Vietnamese Army and their American advisors, the loss prompted renewed emphasis on stronger perimeter defences, improved communications, better intelligence gathering, and faster reinforcement procedures. Many district headquarters across South Vietnam were subsequently strengthened with additional bunkers, improved obstacles, and heavier supporting weapons. Although the Battle of Hiep Hòa was much smaller than later engagements such as the Battle of La Drang in 1965 or the Tet Offensive in 1968, it marked an important turning point in the early years of the war. It showed that the Viet Cong had evolved beyond isolated guerrilla attacks into a force capable of planning and executing coordinated assaults against defended government positions. The battle also foreshadowed the increasingly sophisticated tactics that would characterize the Vietnam War over the following decade. Surprise, intelligence, infiltration, decentralized command, and a rapid withdrawal after achieving objectives became defining features of many Viet Cong operations. Today, military historians regard the Battle of Hiep Hòa as one of the first clear demonstrations that the conflict in South Vietnam had entered a new phase. It revealed the growing effectiveness of the Viet Cong's military organization, exposed serious weaknesses in South Vietnam's local defense system, and underscored the difficult challenge facing both the ARVN and its American advisors in the years ahead.